This is the only mic working for us tonight, so when you have a question, we're going to ask that you come up to the podium to ask your question, and to hand the mic back over to Thomas here, who will be the presenter for tonight. My name is Jeremy, I'm the District Manager of Community Board 11. Thank you everybody for coming out. Mr. Alexander works for the Pelham Pkwy project, the Reconstruction project, and we do have members of the city sitting throughout. They don't want to be here in front of the firing squad. So I do have, there was obviously the sign-in sheet in front. There's also gallery session slips. If you haven't filled one out, you want to take a slip, fill out your question during the presentation, because we're asking that all questions are saved to the very end. And I will start with the slips. And then after we go through the slips, we go through a few other things, then we'll maybe take questions from the floor. But I want to give everyone a chance to ask a question first, okay? By filling out the slip. And then once we get through that, then we'll go through other questions. I'll get you one. And then Thomas will remind you that this presentation is on the north side service road. If you have questions about the current main road or the Pelham Pkwy South project, we will save those for the end. We'll try to get through the north side first. Okay? Thank you.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me if I stand? Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Thomas Alexander. I'm the Community Construction Liaison for the Pelham Pkwy Reconstruction Project Phase 2. As Jeremy mentioned, we have been active and working on the main road since January of 2018. So we've been active in the community for a while, working on the main road. And as Jeremy mentioned, this presentation is specific to talking about the North Service Road construction and those impacts, those community impacts related with said construction. What did I do here? All right, so a little fluff there. All right, so I'm not going to read everything, but this is the agenda. And obviously, there's going to be an introduction. I'm going to go over the project, service road, the sequence, and so on. So that slide basically is self-explanatory in terms of the agenda. I'll just get right into it. Okay, so project information. So there's the map, essentially showing the project area from Stillwell Avenue to Bronx Park East. So from west to east, it's a small map, but in the middle there you can see there's a little shaded area. That represents a section of trunk main work that's going to happen at Laconia, Williamsbridge, Esplanade. That's there's a special piece of construction that's going to happen there that I'm going to get into. But essentially, this is this project area in terms of the North Service Road work. The locations between Bronx Park East, on the service road between Bronx Park East and Stillwell Avenue, including a portion of Boston Road. Side streets, essentially every side street within that stretch will be touched in some way. For the most part, the way we'll be touching those blocks will be to tie in the new water main that's installed or the new sewer that's installed, or to also tie in the new bits of roadway that we're going to be doing as well. I don't know why that keeps happening. Okay, the goal. This phase of the project is necessary to upgrade underground infrastructure and utilities, as well as to address deficiencies within Pelham Pkwy's North Service Road, such as poor drainage and pavement deterioration. Sorry, folks. Okay, scope of the North Service Road work. So we're going to reconstruct Pelham Pkwy North, as I said, from Bronx Park East to Eastchester Road, and we'll be reconstructing Stillwell Avenue as well. And let me just say that there are points in this presentation where it will be redundant, so bear with me. So this work will include, and most notably, this is a stark difference between what happened on the south side. We're going to be installing a water main, but in this particular phase, we're going to be installing a 48-inch steel trunk water main. It's a very large pipe that is going to be going in within the roadway on the North Service Road. This particular bit of construction is probably going to be the most impactful to the community. We're also going to be installing distribution water main 20-inch, 12-inch, 8-inch, and 6-inch. And let me just make the distinction. The 48-inch trunk main are very large pipes that feed the distribution mains. These trunk mains bring water in, they're connected directly to the water tunnels that bring in water from upstate, and they connect to the smaller distribution mains that bring water right into your home. We're going to be replacing some sewer, sections of sewer, with catch basins, a new ADA accessible sidewalk and ramps along Pelham Parkway North between White Plains Road and Williamsbridge Road. So on the south side of the North Service Road, there will be a sidewalk. Essentially, where there is parking allowed on the North Service Road at this point, there will be a sidewalk installed. So from White Plains Road to Eastchester Road, from White Plains Road to Williamsbridge Road, there will be a sidewalk. Okay? Eastchester to Stillwell, it will remain the same, the way it is right now. We're going to reconstruct the retaining wall. I'll touch on that. The retaining wall near the NYISE houses. Install replacement traffic signals and upgrade street lighting. Reconstruct the roadway, including concrete road base on Pelham Parkway North between Boston Road and Eastchester Road. So what I mean by that is that we're going to dig up that whole roadway to install that trunk water main. So as a result, that roadway is going to need to be rebuilt from concrete road base, sub-grade materials, and then it'll be paved. Resurface, and to that end, we're going to be resurfacing Pelham Parkway North between Eastchester Road and Stillwell. So we're just going to be repaving it. Okay, it won't be a full rebuild of the roadway. New traffic signs and pavement markings. So the preliminary work right now, what's happening is I'm doing outreach work on the North Service Road, where the contractor already has storage areas set up within the area for the main road construction. As needed, they'll set up storage areas on the North Service Road for their pipes and other materials. We've already installation of tree protection, tree pruning, and removal. So I think that they're going to be installing tree barriers around trees that will be at risk. So we want to make sure that those trees are going to be protected as we come through with the construction in order to make the area ready for the machines that are going to come in, because they have very tall booms that are going to be needed. There's going to be tree pruning, so they'll be pruning back some trees so that those trees aren't damaged. And there will be some removals, and we've already talked about those removals with the Pelham Parkway Preservation Alliance and the task force. And it's only a few trees that are going to be impacted. These trees are in the Bronxwood area. Okay, I think it's about 3 or 4 trees that we discussed. Okay. Utility interference at present between on the service road between Stillwell Avenue and Eastchester. There is gas main relocation work that is happening there right now. Just want to make it clear that that work is happening on behalf of Con Edison. Although it is the same contractor that's doing the work, they made a separate agreement with Con Edison to perform that work. So that is still a Con Edison operation, despite the fact that it is our contractor. Now that picture right there, these pictures here, kind of represent how the utilities can interfere. The one on the bottom is a sample of the type of interference that can get run into. This is in Manhattan. I mean, when you get into Manhattan, there's a lot of infrastructure underneath that has to be maneuvered around. In our area here, what you'll see are utility poles that represent interference, and we'll work around them as needed. Relocation of gas main, as I mentioned, there's about 10,000 linear feet of gas main that is going to need to be relocated before our trunk main in particular can be installed. So once the crew is finished with their work between Stillwell and Eastchester on the service road, that work will continue to travel west from Eastchester on up the line. Okay. North Service Road construction, again, it's repetitive. I'm going to go over the work sequence, the scope, and preliminary work, kind of like what I already just touched on. North Service Road schedule and work sequence. So the anticipated North Service Road reconstruction schedule is from right now through summer of 2021. Now, I should mention that the summer of 2021 is the official end date of this project. Unofficially, there are delays that have impacted this project, delays with permits, permit distribution, the presence of bedrock. I'll will tell you that we are in the Bronx, and unlike the other boroughs, the Bronx being that it is the only one physically connected to the continent, there is a lot of bedrock, so you can expect to hear rocks being excavated, which is, so you'll hear that along the service road as the contractor, which coincidentally, that rock excavation, rock removal, will probably begin within the next couple of weeks, and again, that'll move from west to east as needed. So they want to remove that rock before they install the water main. So I wanted to just touch on the fact that, as I mentioned, the official end date is summer 2021. At presently, what's anticipated with current delays, we are looking at spring 2022, or 2023, I'm sorry, spring 2023 as the possible new end date. The contractor is, we are researching ways to accelerate the project. One of the ways, and I'll get into that in a minute, is to allow work simultaneously on the main road and the service road, and that's actually already begun. So the sequencing, the Bronx Park East section between Pelham Pkwy North, Boston Road to Bronx Park East, that work is already began in the spring with some distribution water main. They actually ran into a little bit of interference there with respect to underground utilities, gas and electric were in the way. So they had to stop for a little bit to address that. They completed the water main. So from this point forward, the contractor will look to complete the Bronx Park East section with catch basin installation, a sidewalk, and curbs. And there'll also be some additional utility relocations over there as well. And I'll touch on when that work will end in a few moments. So the sequence of the work, we'll do the water main first, including the trunk water main. We will do sewer,